I'm Skylar Reed, an R&B soul singer, songwriter, and vocal coach. And in today's vocal tutorial, I'm going to talk about how to harmonize. In this video, I'm going to break down what a harmony is, how to harmonize, when you can harmonize, and do some warm-ups with you guys on actually harmonizing so we can actually learn how to do this thing. Before I get into the tutorial, I want you to know that I just released a single titled I'm Gone. I want you guys to go listen to it, go stream it. It's available on all streaming platforms. I really appreciate it. So last week you may have seen my video on Ariana Grande's Position song where I broke down the runs, but I also focused in on the harmonies in the song, which was a request from one of my YouTubers that joined one of my workshops. Save the date. Make sure you tune in every second Tuesday right here on YouTube for a vocal workshop. I wanted to elaborate on harmonizing. I did touch on it a little bit in that video, but I feel like there's so much more to harmonizing, and I really want to break down what that is, and even like what is a harmony, you know? Just in case you don't know. A harmony is a combination of simultaneously sounded musical notes to produce chords and chord progressions having a pleasing effect. It also supports the melody. So when you think of a harmony, it's not just one note, it's two notes, maybe three notes, maybe four, maybe five. It could be a lot of notes played together, sung together, and they usually sound really pretty and really cool and just give a lot of awesome texture and color to a song. And how a harmony is formed is really based on the chords and what notes are in the chord. Basically, a chord is a three-note triad. So if you can think of your alphabet, and if we start on A, you have A, you skip over B, you go to C, you skip over D, you go to E. So A, C, E would be that chord. It actually would be a minor chord, but that's besides the point. The idea is that you skip some notes. So it would sound really ugly if you had like a 1 and a 2, which would be like an A and a B. Most chords are built on thirds, which are 1, 3, and 5. If you want to make it really cool and fancy, you can add a 7 to it. Let's just go with A for the sake of if you don't have any musical theory knowledge. The scale goes to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's 7 notes, and then you start back again at A. So if you have an A chord, you have A, C, E, because you skipped over B, you skipped over D, and then you could play a 7, which would be G. So A, C, sharp, E, played together, it's kind of cool. And if I add the 7, there's that. But I could make it even cooler. I love major 7 chords, but that could be a chord. I want you to understand, if you have no musical experience, it's just that a chord is based off of thirds. So you have to go up a third. And this really matters if you're listening and how you can count up a third. So we're going to do some warm-ups. So basically, if we have a chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking numbers. You could also think solfege if you're familiar with solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So I'm going do, mi, sol, do, mi, sol. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. Major 7. And the idea is that if you can count, you should be able to find these harmonies on your own by just finding out what that first note is in the melody, listening to the melody. If you've ever been in the choir, you probably heard SATB before. That is soprano, alto, tenor, bass. If you've ever been in a church choir or a school choir or any kind of like, you know, choir for fun, that's what you have. They're basically sections. So usually girls sing alto and soprano. Boys sing tenor and bass. Usually. There may be times in church where a girl might sing tenor or a man might sing alto. Totally fine if they have that in the range. But with that, that basically means that your voice part is assigned to you based off of what you are capable of, what your voice can naturally do, and what you're strong at, right? So for me, I was always a soprano. I never really got to be in the alto section. As much as I love how strong and rich altos sing, that just wasn't me. I was always a soprano. I started off in college. I started off in soprano 2. I worked my way up to soprano 1, which I probably always have been a soprano 1 at the time, but they needed me in soprano too to hold that down. It's just a split of the higher notes, but that's another story. We're not going to focus on more than like 3 notes in this harmonization thing. So with tenor and bass, usually the guys that sing higher are tenor, and usually the basses are the lower group. Of course, there's also another vocal group called baritone, which are the guys in the mid. I've never been in a choir that actually had a baritone section. It was just bass or tenor. But of course, like if you ever sing like in a duo or have a duet or something, you might have to choose a piece with a baritone accompaniment, or in that key of your baritone range, so you can sing really well. So that's basically how choir is sectioned out. And usually, just a side note, if you've ever been in choir, like the sopranos are always never standing next to the altos. Like they're over here all the way away from the altos, probably because the notes are kind of close by. So it's kind of easy for having the sopranos, then the basses, then the tenors, then the altos. So everyone's like kind of split up and can really hear their note. That is one of the hardest things about doing harmony, is hearing yourself. So really focus in, I would say, just a slight tip before I get into the rest of this. If you are in a choir and you have a part and it's hard, get that part down solo dolo. Like get that part down so solid that you can do it like by yourself, like with no help. So when you actually do get to singing in the choir with everybody else, you can hold it down and be strong and be secure with your part. So you're not distracted by all the other notes, because it can get distracting and get frustrating, and you just might not know which note to hit. You might be trying to hit a little higher than you should or a little lower than you should, because you're hearing stuff from other sides. So make sure that you do the work by yourself, secluded, alone, and getting your part down before you get into a group with everybody else. So let's go over how to hear harmony in a song. You basically want to pick out the lead melody, which is easy because the lead melody is the main part that everybody sings to the song. So you probably already know that part. It's the easiest part. It's the loudest part, especially if you're listening to pop music, R&B, soul, all that kind of stuff. The lead is going to be right there for you. If you're listening to classical or like choral music that might have some more things going on, or even gospel music, it might be a little hard to find the lead, but I'm gonna give you a little hint. Usually the sopranos, especially in gospel, the sopranos have the lead. The sopranos are singing the melody because they're the highest. I won't say they're the greatest just because I love soprano, but they're the ones holding down that lead melody. Everybody else under them is adding the color. The altos specifically, they're just adding a really cool color to it. The tenors might be doing the lead with the sopranos depending on the arrangement, but usually the basses are doing something cool too and just adding movement and stuff. You might have the sopranos going up in a melody and the altos staying straight, and the tenors going down and doing a descending line, and the basses doing a whole bunch of up and down. You just never know, but usually it's like all different depending on the arrangement. It could totally be very, very simple and everything's moving the same. You will find that a lot in pop music, unless it's like really soulful and really complex situations. But I would say pop music, like Ariana Grande, like that song, it was very simple. The melodies were like either a third under or a fifth under or above. And you can go either way with harmonies. Listen to groups. Destiny's Child, amazing harmonies. The Clark Sisters, if you're into gospel, like listen to them. Escape, Jagged Edge, Boys to Men, like their harmonies, like the Temptations even. Ooh, for something really hard, listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now that is some cool stuff. So just listen to groups and listen to music that has these things to get your ear accustomed to hearing these harmonies and accustomed to like just knowing, that they exist and knowing like where you can go. After you identify that lead part, then you're going to listen for the low or the high. Pick one, whichever's easiest. If there's just one higher line, then choose that and like listen just to that high note. You already know the lead, so just like X that out. Know that, okay, this is where that is. Put that in the box. Now just focus in on the higher melody above it and just listen. Harmonizing and hearing harmonies is really a listening game and just focusing in on the section you're trying to focus in on. I think it's the most fun for me when I have to do gospel and break down that, because sometimes the harmonies are really tight and you can't hear. Just dissect it and just see like where each thing is and listen just to that line and try to sing along just to that line. All right, so how to harmonize. The first thing you want to do is figure out what group you're in. Are you a soprano, alto, tenor, bass? What are you? When you know that, it helps you tremendously as a singer. You know basically what songs to choose for your voice as a solo person. If you're joining a choir, you know what part to actually audition for, or what your sweet spot is, where you sound the best, and that's basically where you want to live and thrive. So finding out that voicing is key. Next, just listen and sing along to harmonies of your favorite song. Like maybe go through, listen to the lead and sing along to that, you know that, and then go back and really hone in, put some headphones in. You hear it way better with headphones. Oh, super side note, there's this video going around of Michael Jackson's Thriller harmonies. Whoa. I might share that. I'm gonna have to find it and probably put it in the description. It's crazy. It's so crazy to hear those harmonies. You don't hear it like that when you actually listen to the song, but when the engineer like played each one, it's amazing. It's like, wow, that's all happening. That's so crazy. So yeah, harmonies like that you probably won't be able to pick out because it was like 7 of them. It was a lot, and just really weird ones. T-Pain makes really great harmonies too. He makes some really weird off the wall harmonies that just don't sound like they would fit, but they actually do. He is very musical, so it makes sense. Let's do a quick harmonization warm up. So I'm going to play Do, and I want you to hear me or think 1 to 3. So I'm going to demonstrate real quick. So we're going to go Do, Do, Re, Mi in our mind, but I want you to sing Mi. I'm going to play Do, and you're going to think Mi, and think that. Or 3, if numbers work best for you. Okay, let's go. Do, Mi. Okay, so those are those 2 notes. I'm just going to play Do this time. Do, Mi. Did you catch it? Do, Mi. I'm gonna give you some more time this time. Do, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna switch it now. I'm gonna play Mi and you find Do. Mi, and you have to count backwards. Mi, Re, Do, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Mi, Re, Do, Mi, Do, Mi, Re, Do, Mi, Do, Mi, Do. So there's that. So you're thinking, oh, here's 3. Count in your head. See if you can hear those notes in your mind. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested in learning anything else, just leave a comment and let me know, and I most likely will get to it. And of course, follow me on all social media at I am Skylar Reed and Skylar's Music Studio. Peace, y'all.